So I never seen it, but 2 years ago he was in a independent movie, After Sun, that got so much fucking praise. And I don't know if it was nominated or anything. I don't think it was, but a lot of people in my like Letterboxd community and shit and TikTok community love this movie a lot.
Yeah.
And he was the main guy in that.
Is that all Paul Mescal has really done?
That's the only thing I recognize title wise. That's like I've never heard of Foe that came out last year.
Well, actually, that's something I like about this movie is that there are a lot of actors that you don't really see. Like Denzel stands out as the big name throughout the whole movie, but I mean, even the one like the younger of the two twin emperors haven't really seen him anywhere, and Lucia or Paul Mescal's mother in the movie.
Oh, Connie Nielsen.
Don't really see her anywhere else, and I think that it kind of helps ground you in the movie. At least for me, when I don't know the actors, it helps me ground myself a little bit more because I'm not thinking about.
I got that.
Character,
I get that.
or the actor behind the character. You know,
because like the first like 5 minutes, or like I would say the opening of Denzel's scene, I was like, "This is Denzel in a Gladiator movie. It's fucking cool."
Yeah,
and I just kept thinking of that. But at that,
and he's got such a strong personality; it's hard to not be Denzel. But he still did a fantastic job.
He was still great.
Yeah. I mean, I loved seeing him in this world. I'm such a Rome geek. Like, I just love this time period. I love this history. I mean,
you do.
Like, just got through the show Rome. Any movie in this time period, I'm all about. And for those who have been following my content, you guys know that I'm not a huge fan of Gladiator 1.
We will judge him later. We will judge him later.
And if you guys want to catch that video, it is right here. It's 5 movies that are not as great as I remember. Had a lot of fun making that video, actually. Just real quick.
Top of your head, what are the other movies out of curiosity?
A Beautiful Mind, Forrest Gump.
Need to see that.
Which A Beautiful Mind is another Russell Crowe movie.
I agree with Forrest Gump.
I'm sorry, Russell Crowe.
But don't damn.
No love for the Crow. Catch Me If You Can.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Honestly, man, like I did not enjoy the rewatch on that.
Oh.
But this was take granted this was like
hurts.
4 or 5 years ago at this point, so
it's been
I could watch him again and have a different opinion. Honestly, I feel like I would. I was watching a lot at that time. I was like a different place mentally. Yeah, I was a lot younger.
Was that when you were watching like all of the Kurosawa films too? Like I remember.
Yeah, I was deep in like Kurosawa and Tarkovsky and Bergman at that time. It's when I made a lot of my video essays that have kind of kept this channel going. But cycling back to Gladiator here, not a huge fan of the first one, mainly for like the way the movie was filmed. Like the shaky cam bothered me.
Shaky cam.
The
I'll give you
lack of character development kind of bothered me. And you could disagree on that. For me, I just didn't feel like Gladiator 1 really gave enough time to Maximus to make him actually like a hero and a character outside of like the really confined structure of the Colosseum setting.
It's fair.
Yeah,
it's fair. Like I think most of Russell Crowe's acting is done in like facial expressions and like his mannerisms, which I think it's a
straight masculine energy.
It's a different performance.
Hollywood actually liked at that time.
They really did. Well, just a man of few words that like for example, whenever Commodus announces that the dad is dead or whatever, and then Maximus goes in and sees him and he asks how did he die, and then Commodus gives a bullshit. The nurses that didn't say he passed in his sleep. Like his heart stopped in his sleep. And then instantly Maximus, you can just tell he's just like bullshit. And he's like the only one that like you can feel in the room that is rating 8 off of Crow that he's the only one that knows it's bullshit. Mm-hmm. Just small stuff like that.
Okay.
But as far as development goes, you're not wrong.
Yeah. That was one of my critiques. I mean, it's still a really fun movie. There's still some really just great cinematic pieces.
The dialogue is still great.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of great lines like there was in Gladiator 2.
Some really powerful one-liners and quotable lines for sure.
Oh yeah. I didn't write down or anything. But yeah,
I really love the politicking of Rome and the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I just feel like Gladiator is definitely more of an action movie than it is a political thriller or drama. And I guess that's another reason why it just didn't feel like a movie really outside of exploring the idea of the arena and the Coliseum, it didn't do much like with the timeline. I don't know. It feels as a little bit more vanilla, basic when compared to some other great content that's filmed in this time period.
I'll give you that.
So yeah, I think that's another reason why one wasn't as loved by me. But hopping into 2, my real question was like, do we need a sequel to Gladiator 1? And I think
we're all wondering that.
I think that was a real big question on a lot of people's minds, and I'm pretty happy. I think we're both really happy to say.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a W. It's a win.
It's a good sequel.
It is a good movie. It is a good sequel. And if it's just dealing with the director himself, Ridley Scott, Hall of Famer, legend,
right.
Nobody's going to deny this man. I personally, I haven't seen Napoleon, but I have not liked a Ridley Scott movie in like 10 years. So I was very worried going into this movie.
Yeah.
I had like, the trailers were good, but we'll see, sequel to a 20-year-old movie that sometimes doesn't work out very well. No, man, really good time.
Kind of felt like a B movie cash grab from the early concepts. When I heard about it, I was like, a Gladiator 2, that sounds like straight to Netflix. Like I was like,
no Russell Crowe too.
But then it was Ridley Scott. And I was like, really? And then it was Denzel Washington, Pedro. I was like, okay, wait, hold on.
Pedro. You're like, okay.
What's happening here?
Like, this is a movie. This is an action movie.
Yeah, and then they're casting, actors from the first movie, and then it was like kind of all this shape started forming, and then the actual movie is like, this is a direct sequel. Like,
oh yeah,
we're bringing a lot of the same characters, a lot of the same names.
Themes,
yeah,
picks up right where the first one ends. And to full disclosure, I watched the first one today, the same day we watched the second one. Like I finished it, walked the dog, drove to the theater to watch the second one. So, and I feel like that really, really helped. So if you want to see the second one, and it's been a minute since watching the first one, watch the first one before you watch the second one. Highly recommend.
I think it's a good thing I didn't rewatch one. Since, again, it's been 4 or 5 years, so I don't remember it as well. I think that throughout our review here, we're gonna give both the sides of this, like the fresh on the mind and not fresh on the mind. I think that's gonna affect both of our opinions on some things, and so I think that's good for us going into this, right? Just as a fourth wall breaking thing to say here. But yeah, no, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're right. I agree with that. It's if you like, it's different perspective and everything. Because like walking out of it, you were like, man, I don't know if I have anything like any like flaws, any negatives with it. You were trying to think of some, and the couple that I have stem from the first movie, which you won't have.
Right.
And if you don't remember the first one or never seen it, you won't have. So
okay.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I liked, again, like this was it was actually a solid sequel, like story wise, and it surprised me. Like this feels like a resolution to Maximus's legacy, like his story. Which
I would argue it has way more emotional depth to me, this one, than the first one.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone who likes the first one.
From what I remember, I agree with you, because I don't feel like one hit me emotionally. Now, I will also say I don't feel like 2 necessarily hit me emotionally at all. I mean, I did not cry. I didn't even tear up personally. So while I think while we are prefacing this with we both like the movie, it's good. I don't think it's necessarily great, and
probably not.
As you already mentioned, I said I was looking for flaws in my mind. And I was doing that because I enjoyed it. Yeah, like it was good, but like it never reached a level of greatness for me. Like there was never a continuous period throughout the movie where I was like really, really like in love with what was going on. Like there were some really great moments that we'll talk about and like great performances. But yeah, I'm excited to walk through the movie with you, Jay, because I want to like digest for this too. Really what's going on.
Oh yeah.
As far as my feelings for this movie,
I can definitely see what you're saying. Like just with movies in general that you really love, or that you like, man, this is a really good movie. Can't think of many flaws, but if it doesn't go there like emotionally for you or for whatever reason, like in Nora last week, where it had that 10-minute sequence of just pure comedy and destruction, where you're just like, this movie is fucking awesome. Yeah. Like this is awesome. I agree with you on that. In Gladiator 2, they never had a moment like that for me. In Gladiator 2, but I thought,
because there are some great cinematic set pieces, and I don't want to spoil it for you guys now, because I think the nature of just the fuck's going on is cool. Like, and we're gonna get there. I don't want to spoil it right now.
No.
But Yeah. I mean, to tack on to what you're saying, Jay, Nora, we even just talked about this before the pod. It's a movie both of us have thought about a lot since we saw it. I don't see Gladiator 2 lingering in my brain for the next few days.
I think certain parts will for me. Just certain scenes.
I'm happy for you. Besides maybe some of the really cool action sequences, I don't see like anything that's really gonna touch my soul, and I'll be thinking about it at night, like, this the way I feel about life right now is affected by Gladiator 2.
Oh, Daddy Pascal.
Don't. No. Yeah. If anything,
I mean, I do that anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So
you're playing Last of Us, so that makes sense.
That's true. It just kind of just adds on to that.
There should be an alternate skin in Last of Us where it's Pedro's character. Like, why has Naughty Dog not done that? Like, Naughty Dog, I know you're listening to this because I'm the biggest fan. Where's the Pedro skin? Like,
somebody definitely has made a mod of that, I'm sure.
Oh,
on the PS version.
It is on PC. Yeah.
PC. I said PS version. PC. Yeah. Oh my God, I would love to play as Daddy Pascal.
I know. That'd be great. And you can even edit in Bella. Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, for Ellie.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be cool
for sure. So before we hop into the spoiler review, do you have anything else to add on, Jay, about your just general feelings?
No, I think we're. It sounds like I liked it slightly more than you, but I think we're pretty much on the same area. Like, I don't think it's one of the year's best, but it has some pretty damn strong performances that we'll get into from Denzel and Paul Mescal. I really enjoyed it, man. I really did. Outside of the few problems that I had with it, good sequel. Go see it. And the 2 hour, 30-minute runtime flew by like I was never bored.
It did not hurt at all.
Nah, it flew by.
I think I checked my phone once just to see where we were at, and it was like 2 hours in. And I was like, oh, damn, cool. We're going to be closing up soon like shit.
Right.
But no, yeah, I'm with you, man. Again, I think this was the best popcorn movie of the year. That's kind of where I'm at mentally. Like, as far as just straight fun, bring the whole family to see. I feel like Gladiator 2 it's a movie for everybody. It's a good time. It's entertaining. Again, I think the action sequences are probably the best part of the movie, in my opinion. I think what they did there was really cool. I think you are clinged on to the characters a little bit more than me, and that could be because you just watched the first movie.
I was going to say that probably because I just watched the first one.
So I'm going to need your help probably going through the plot here with characters' names and background politics.
I mean, I might butcher some of the characters' names, but at least I'll know who you're talking about.
Okay.
I'll know that.
Okay. Guys, thank you so much for listening. At this point, if you've not seen the movie, you might want to check out.
Right.
We are going to be hopping into the spoiler section of the video. Do you want to start us off, Jay, or shall I do the honors?
Well, we start off, and I'll start us off because I was kind of like with you when it's like we had talked about it off camera, where it started with a basically painting slow-mo telling of the first movie.
Yeah,
and I was kind of worried. Because of my
you're talking about the just the intro credits.
The intro credits.
Yeah.
And nothing to do with the movie itself. It was my fear of Ridley Scott directing this movie. And for some it looks so weird. I was just like, oh God. Like, I really don't want to I was thinking in my head, I really don't want to dislike this movie. I hope this weird title sequence isn't
to kind of explain this for the audience. It's kind of like a brush painting.
Right.
A moving painting image. I think you probably already said that, right? And I for some reason this just correlates to the time period because the show Rome on HBO has the exact same type of intro.
Really?
So maybe he was just got some inspiration from Rome.
Could be.
Maybe it's just like a culture thing. I don't know. But when I saw that, it didn't bother me at all because I was like, oh yeah, it's like just reminded me of the show. And I was like, yeah, this take place in Rome. Hell yeah! Like,
I don't know why it bothered me.
It's almost easy to forget that Gladiator 1 was a movie taking place in Roman culture because like I don't feel like outside of like the center dynamic conflict like
you would never know it's Rome.
Yeah, I mean you would, but it's like it's not like as important to the time period. Like it's not as much of a timepiece.
No, like they mention the politics and stuff of it in passing, but like Commodus does, but you never get a full, like what you said like earlier, a full grasp of the actual political climate in that world.
I think Rome just spoiled me because it's obviously it's a fucking cold Rome. So
and I need to see that show. I do.
It is good. Okay, so that didn't bother me, but we do open up with something that did bother me, which is a slow-mo shot of him picking up rice, which I was just like, oh God, We're already using slow-mo Ridley.
That was pretty funny, dude. And like the music, it was like, of him just like picking up rice like that. I kind of was still worried at that
Very
point
holy, like holier than thou vibes of here is Lucius. Like, you already know who this is because it's Gladiator II, and you're supposed to know who this character is.
Right. So did you know who he was right off rip?
Just from the trailers.
Okay.
I think like I knew it was Maximus's son. Okay. I knew that. I feel like I shouldn't have known that because the movie makes it like if you didn't know that, the movie would be more surprising. Like if you had never seen Gladiator 1 and you went into 2, it would be like almost more surprising.
Well, what's crazy is that if the trailers really, because I don't remember the trailers, to be honest with you. I don't remember the story they told in those trailers and how they made it to look. Because in the first one, like I told you in the theater while we're watching it, it never definitively says Lucius is Maximus's son. They never definitively say that, but they heavily hint at it. So in the movie, when it happens, I was like, okay, so they confirmed it. That's cool.
I just assumed. I was just like, this makes sense, right? It's his son going through the same exact thing that he went through. Like, that's what we're doing here, right? I did not realize it was meant to be a surprise, but it seems like from the storytelling, like you've said,
it seemed like it was
leans that way.
Leans that way for sure.
Yeah, but I don't. Again, from this first shot, I feel like you should know who he is because it makes him such a icon at the first scene. Like, there's a slow-mo shot of him picking up rice. His wife is smiling at him.
Goes kiss his pretty wife.
And that is the only bit of happiness we're getting the whole movie. This slow-mo shot for 2 minutes.
That is true. That's why it was slow-mo, man. He wanted to make it last as like long as possible before you get into
He's
death.
like, they did not allow me to make this a 3-hour movie, so here you go. And immediately jumps into some action. Like,
good action,
bam.
too. Oh, yeah.
And it was solid. It's Daddy Pedro storming this seems to be a tribe in Africa. Like, apparently they're
the last
free tribe that isn't under Rome's control in Africa. Lucius, our boy, played by
Paul Mescal.
Paul Mescal. Say that correctly. Yes, he is a leader already of soldiers. He's like hyping them up like King Rohan or King Theoden style. Like, come on, like, pick up your swords, It's very epic. And even his wife is like donning the armor. Like, his wife is Legolas.
That was so dope, dude. Yeah. I don't know why she reminded me of Atreus from.
Ooh.
I don't know why. But, not Atreus. Sorry.
Say wait, hold on.
Not Atreus.
Weird vibes.
Not Atreus. Aloy.
Aloy.
Yeah.
100%.
Heavy Aloy vibes, and which this big sequence leads to her dying, which genuinely got me. Not emotional. I was just like, oh shit, they killed her already, like right in front of him. I'm like, okay, well, he's gonna have some stuff to go,
They immediately established the conflict between him and Marcus, who was played by Pascal, Pedro. Right. Man, it's confusing. Pedro Pascal and Paul
Mescal.
Okay, this is gonna.
I'll make it easier for you, bro. Daddy Pedro.
Yeah, let's just say that. Daddy Pedro. He immediately establishes that he is the enemy to Lucius, but just from Lucius' perspective, because we get that great shot of Daddy Pedro burning the corpses after Rome, he inevitably wins.
He's a noble man.
He is a noble guy. He does not want to be here sieging cities for the emperors who are very tyrannical at this point. Like, it's an emperor of tyranny.
Commodus times 10.
Yeah, these little boys, pieces of shit. We're going to call them Thing 1 and Thing 2.
We are.
To make it easier. Because, again, the names, Roman names, hard as fuck.
Hard as fuck, and we don't want to butcher them throughout the episode. But the actors, Joseph Quinn, and who's the guy who played the brother?
I don't even know him. I don't even know his name.
Fantastic performances.
Great.
They were both fantastic. Yeah. Joseph Quinn definitely channeled. There's one scene.
Who's Eddie Stranger Things, if you guys don't know.
Eddie. Yeah. And I was actually going to reference Stranger Things because he definitely had a moment where, like, he definitely channeled Eddie's inner screams. Like, yes, you know what part I'm talking about, dude. At the Coliseum, when all I can hear in my head when he stood up and screamed was in the scene in the finale where he's like, "This is music." That's like all I was picturing. But respect to both actors because they were fantastic. But Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Yeah, we're gonna get there pretty soon, actually. So we have a flashback to Lucius as a child, kind of the movie establishing for the those who haven't seen the movie, I guess, or just geezers or whoever, that this is the boy who ran away at the end of Gladiator 1, and he fled to Africa. Here he is now. This is Lucius, in case you didn't know. And then, yeah, after that, the next scene is literally us meeting Gaeta and Carosella, thing 1 and thing 2. Joseph Quinn is thing 1. Carcala is thing 2. And then it establishes Lucilla again as a character who is the daughter of, or sister of...
The sister of
Commodus.
Joaquin Phoenix's character from the first one.
Which is... who had a love relationship with Maximus,
right?
Russell Crowe in the first movie,
which
correct?
You don't really find out about until the end of the first one. Like I say, it's hinted throughout the movie, but
they kind of get together at the end. They have like a make-out scene, right?
Yes, they do. They do.
So yeah, her and Marcus seem to be either husband and wife or like just intertwined.
Husband and wife.
It seems like they were married, right?
He calls him his wife.
Yeah. And then we're introduced to Denzel motherfucking Washington, baby.
Who steals every inch of scene, every screen time he's on in this movie. He eats it up, bro.
And he gets what is always a really cool character in these time periods.
No matter when they take place, bro.
The Coliseum master, the arena master, like that. I don't know. That's always a memorable character for me. I don't know if that makes me just a terrible person. I don't know why. I just feel like they're always characters.
He's a good businessman.
They're good. No, they're memorable. And this is fucking Denzel Washington playing this guy, and he's very like flamboyant almost. Like in his like I was really getting flamboyant vibes from this guy, just the way he was speaking. Like his facial expressions were very pronounced,
and the clothes he was wearing.
He was straight up Gucci gangsta. Like he had all the rings and earrings. Like he was really like he was
a gangster.
He was a straight from nothing to something character.
Oh yeah, which I loved.
They established that, and it's at first it's like, is he a good guy? Is like he makes a deal with Lucius right off the bat. Like I'll get you Marcus's head if you fight for me. Like it never really establishes his moral grounds where he stands.
No, you kind of just
either keeps it a little secret.
Keeps it secret, so you just gotta assume, guess, or just along for the ride until things get revealed.
Yeah, and we get our first arena scene. First of many arena scenes.
First of many.
Obviously, it's fucking Gladiator.
That's what you come to see.
This is what we're here for.
We're here to fucking...
And unfortunately, we were dealing with our own monkeys in the real world during this. Unfortunately, what was a really cool scene in the background of us dealing with two fucking geezers just would not stop talking.
Would not shut the fuck up.
And me and someone else in the room asked them to be quiet. One a little more nicely than me, but I was the second guy, so we said it nicely one time. Had to yell at them a little bit.
That second time is like
had to bring out the Bronx in me, but I swear they didn't hear us because they kept talking. Like they were talking as I told them to stop talking.
Well, when you told me how old they were, I was like, they probably didn't hear us. But you know what? I don't care. I don't feel bad. Sorry if you're that old, bro. Don't go to the movies.
Sorry. Movies. Come on. We need to get like private screenings. Like we're over here reviewing movies. Like, come on, guys. Like Warner Brothers,
right?
Whoever made this movie,
right?
Where's our private screenings?
Private screening, or send us to the next red carpet.
Yeah. Jesus. They'll deal with these geezers.
One day.
Stop talking.
One day, bro. No, it's our fault because we go in the middle of the day.
We see it with the old people.
We see these movies with the old people now, man.
Damn. We are always the youngest people.
Always, dude. Beetlejuice was literally us and like a bunch of people who retired. It's just a bunch of a retirement home and us.
Yeah. It means we're living the good life, Jay.
We are.
We're living the good life. We're out here with the retired folk. That means we're doing something right, I think.
That's what I'm gonna tell myself tonight.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that was. We didn't really see too much of it, but it was a cool. Like they were fighting monkeys, and the monkeys looked great. And you can definitely tell this is a movie that came out 24 years after, or 23 years after the last one, because the CGI in one compared to the CGI in this,
way back. Oh, for sure. It is. I'm glad we brought up the thing that we had to deal with because, so I didn't see the introduction of the monkeys. I was dealing with that, and I was talking to the guy, the theater guy. So whenever I got back to my seat, I was like, what the fuck is he fighting? I had no idea what that thing was, bro. I was like, is this like, there's like 5 seconds. I was like, is this a fucking vampire? Like, I had no idea. I had legit, dude, I had no clue what he was fighting at all.
Yeah, it's a fucking monkey, man.
Until you get like a full body shot of it dead. I'm like, oh, he was fighting a monkey.
Fighting a monkey. Yeah, and he even like
goes
full monkey mode.
He
like,
does.
Against it. Like he's you know, like to scare it. And
I was so confused.
So scared. You know, I was just confused because there was a lot going on. But he seems to prove himself during this scene, because almost the next scene they're eating, you know, in the slave cafeteria where all the gladiators eat after the battle, and they all start making the monkey sounds at him. But I was like, wait, are they like dogging on this guy? Like they're making fun of him, but like,
oh, they're building him up.
It was mad respect. Like, yeah, he was out there. He, you know, gave them all a little bit of courage.
Oh yeah,
summoning the spirit of his father once again in the Coliseum. You know,
right?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, first of many times he does that throughout the. He just oozes command, man. Paul Mescal as this character, he really does.
Oozes that masculine energy.
He sure does.
And after that fight, there's this great quote and just a great little scene between Denzel. We're just gonna call him Denzel. I don't know if we established that yet, but
we're just gonna.
He's Denzel.
He did.
Him and Lucius, where he's like, rage just pours out of you, and I dug it.
I dug that too.
It was a good little scene. We kind of detour to Marcus, who, you know, also is a character. We're just gonna call him Daddy Pedro. Daddy Pedro. It's established that he's really tired of the ambition of the twins. You know, again, it established that he was upset when he had to burn those bodies earlier, and he's talking to Lucilia. Is it Lucilia?
Lucilia, yep.
That he is done with the war, and, you know, it definitely seems like they're getting ready to
basically
run a coup.
Oh, yeah, I'm about to say run a coup.
Yeah.
Overturn the emperors.
Yeah.
I love that they immediately established that he's a good guy. And that not only is he a good guy, but he is that's why, like, because you turned to me, so I'm sure you heard me say it. Because he says, I just got to go home to my wife. So you don't know who the wife is yet. And when she turned around and it was Connie Nielsen's Lucia, that's why I said, oh shit. Like, I knew she was in the movie, but that immediately establishes so much conflict between those three. Pedro Pascal, Lucia, and Lucius. So that alone hooked me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like already invested in this dynamic because of that.
See, I was under the assumption again that he was Maximus's son. I had no clue that she was the mom. That confused me. That's why I had to ask you for confirmation later.
Okay.
Because it doesn't really establish that until their meetup later on in the movie. Like, if you didn't remember going into this movie that was the mom, I don't think there's anything that signals that to you until later on.
No, probably not, and it's so crazy because in the first one he has a son already. That's not Lucius, but he dies. So like I had forgot that he dies. So the entire time in the first one I was like, who is this? Is this ends up being his son? Mm-hmm. And then we get this in the second one and everything. So
see, I even made a note here that when your first arenal battle happens and Lucius sees Marcus, Daddy Pedro, and he sees Lucilia, I was thinking he wants revenge. Like, he wants to kill Marcus's wife because his wife was killed by Marcus. But it makes so much more sense that he recognized his mother, and it makes it way more powerful that I'm completely over my head at that point that he saw his mother for the first time in forever. And yeah, so that was lost on me.
Okay, well, and again, I got the benefits of freshly watching the first one.
Yeah, right.
So,
right.
But I will say, so one of my negatives in the movie, I tell you, I have a couple. At the end of the first one, while it's not established that the corruption is out of Rome, because it still very much is like the presence of corruption would still be there. Makes sense. It would still be there after Commodus's death. Her sending him away didn't happen at the end of the first one.
Right.
And I don't think they gave a good enough reason for her to do that. I really don't. Like, I was like, when the scene happened, the flashback scene happened, I was like, oh, that was it? That's why you got I don't know. It seemed like they just needed a reason to have him leave so he can come back, so we can have the actual story of him, like, reclaiming the throne and everything and keeping his
I think that
identity
actually does
of
make
mystery.
sense to me. especially knowing a little bit more about the culture here, because with Commodus having died, the basically family seat that claimed royalty at that time, which was Commodus and Lucilia's father,
right.
Marcus Aurelius. Now that he was dead and his heir was dead, the next heir would be the child. So any enemies would have to just kill this child during a very weak time for them and claim the throne. So that's why he was sent away, so that he wouldn't be killed. She didn't want to play she wasn't powerful enough to play the politics on her own. And then, it doesn't explain how these twins came into power, but it seems like during this pretty much brief period of time of 20 years, they took over. Right. Does it give an exact amount of time for
16? It says 16.
Yeah. So these twins somehow came into power.
Right, and also the age is different. They say, I think that because in the first one, I'm pretty sure Lucius is only 8. It's only a 4-year difference. But in Gladiator, because I'm pretty sure he's 8 in first one, and here they say that he was 12 when he got sent away. But I mean, even if that's wrong, that's not that big of a deal.
So we get our second fight scene here, which is probably my favorite fight scene of the movie, which I just love the intimacy of this fight scene, which is a weird thing to say, but it's the 1-on-1 battle.
For sure.
For the higher tier crowd, the emperors are there, all the nobility's there, Denzel's there, and basically Denzel bets that his man can kill another dude who I never even got that guy's name. He kind of ends up he's pretty important as far as Denzel's rise to power in the movie, but the guy he was betting against throughout the film.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget his name either, but he was kind of important.
We'll just call him the loser, because he basically loses everything to Denzel. He loses this bet, which leads to him losing his home, and basically helps Denzel rise to power, which is a very side plot to the film.
It is, but why I love... Dude, Denzel is so good in this movie. The whole time he's doing this, he's smiling, laughing, just in this dude's face as he's taking everything away from him. Yeah. And then in the background, when the camera is not focused on him and the scene is focused on other characters, he's in the background just you can plotting, and you can tell he's scheming. And it's just the way Denzel played it was so fucking good. And
Lucius throws down with this dude. It's
a great
scene.
Fight. It's a great fight.
And then afterwards, the emperors are both, basically I would assume they're playing teenagers at this time.
Especially the younger one.
Right. Yeah, I think they're maybe 18 years old. That's where I think they're trying to go with these performances.
That makes sense.
One of them comes up to him, or Thing One comes up to him, and wants to speak to him because it's such a spectacle. This is the barbarian, from Africa.
Great line, by the way, by Lucius before the fight. Great line where he's like, "Come on, brother, we don't need to kill each other for their amusement."
Yes,
love that line.
Yes, and he obviously there's some secrets to who Lucius is and where he's from, because he's obviously not just some barbarian. He speaks the language, and he even throws some motherfucking bars. Dropped some poetry, which I didn't have enough time to write down what he says, but it was some great lines. And he's actually quoting, I believe, a line from the first movie. Or am I wrong about that?
I don't remember. I was trying my hardest to remember, and if it is, it went over my head. They made it seem
pretty important to Lucia realizing who Lucius is.
They probably did, dealing with something Connie Nielsen's character.
The mom and son's name is so similar, Lucilia and Lucius.
So a lot of Lucius.
Yes, very Lucius in this movie. But yeah, so then it officially, Marcus and Lucilia in the background officially plot to overthrow the twins, who the movie very quickly establishes are just little pieces of shit and are evil. And obviously, there was the good moment when Daddy Pedro came back to Rome and pronounced his victory to the twins, and they're they have zero disrespect for him, they had zero respect for this guy, so much so to where he even cuts him with the sword on his neck.
He fucking does,
just for no reason. He's just he's pretending to knight him, even though he's obviously a
but
knight.
He was really just showing their power.
Yeah, and he has the blade on his neck, and he even nicks him, and it's just he doesn't react at all. And I was just ooh, fuck they had such punchable faces, man.
Dude, immediately established that they're pieces, like you said, that they're pieces, just god awful pieces of shit.
So yeah, let me get our next arena battle scene, which is kind of the first, just like, the first one. I think this is when we had the dude on the rhino, I believe. This was that one? Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the guy in the rhino. Maximus again is this scene honestly is like straight from Gladiator 1. Where he's leading the men and he's telling them exactly how to fight. And they're all organized. And then there's that one guy who doesn't want to listen. Like, I'm pretty sure Gladiator 1 has that exact same dynamic.
It kind of does, yeah. I think it. You know what? I didn't even think about that, but there is.
But it's still fun. It's still fun, and I haven't said this yet, but the action in this one is actually good. It's well choreographed, which, in my opinion, the first one, until the end, even in the end, I don't think it was as good as 2 has been. But the choreographed action in this movie is fantastic.
It is. All of it's
very entertaining. No shaky cam. Thank God.
I was worried that because the opening to Gladiator 1 is fucking brutal, bro.
Yeah, that was shaky cam time, man.
Oh, dude, just the equivalent of that.
The day of the shaky cam for sure. Can't believe that movie won Best Freaking Picture. And did it win Best Picture? I think
it did, and that's the thing. I like Gladiator 1, but it is wild to me that people think that's one of the best movies of all time. It's really good. I don't want to get it. I'll just
okay. Again, the filming, it really, like, that is my big number one thing for why I can't stand one. But an important moment in this arena scene is Lucilia basically recognizes her son because the way he picks up the sand, he does the exact same thing that his dad did, where he like kind of rubbed it in his hands.
He did,
and being all stoic and beautiful.
I love that scene.
And
I can't lie.
It clicks something for her that this is
Lucius.
This is Lucius. Yeah. I don't know. I was just like, all right, this is a Gladiator 1 reference. Like, yeah, like I don't know. Like, I wasn't as clung to the characters, so I was just like, okay, I see what's happening here. But still, I didn't know that was her son, so I was following that trail at least. Like, that was keeping me entertained because I was like, because I assumed it was Maximus' son, which makes this such a weird dynamic for me. But I was like, wait, like, why is she like I thought like she recognized Maximus, but I still didn't click that she was the mom.
And see, for me, like when that happens, I was like, in my head, I was like, that's so sweet. I was like, she knew that's my boy. Like, my mom will know. So
I'm gonna have a different experience watching this second time for sure. And yeah, so she goes to see him and say she's sorry. And
probably my favorite scene of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I was just way too confused.
I love that scene so much, man. Like, it's when I said that I didn't cry, but that's the scene that, like, when he says "get out," I almost teared up.
Damn.
Like, I didn't, but that shit hit me. Like, I was, because like I said, I was already invested in this dynamic. I already was. So like when that scene to me was just the perfect first scene between the two. Like, it makes so much sense.
Okay.
Of what she put him through, and him just angrily wanting to reject anything to do with this life, like Rome or his past or anything like that. And it's a lot of the credit in this scene has to do with Paul Mescal. I thought he just fucking killed it. Like, I really did.
Yeah, I thought he was good, but this scene, it didn't hit for me. And it was still a revelation that this is the mom. I was like, okay, like story-wise, I was like, okay, it's something to note. But I didn't understand why he was rejecting her. I wasn't convinced. Like I get that he had to run away from home and that he was basically had to go start a new life, but
well,
I don't know.
It's not just the mom thing. It's the fact that she stayed in this awful political climate. That's why he says, like, I forgot, I don't know what the line is, but he says some line like, "Oh, while you sit comfortably in the Colosseum," or something like that. Like, I think it's the idea, and he despises Rome, like, with all his heart and soul, because even before he leaves at the end of the first one, Commodus was basically like threatened him and his mom in front of each other, like, pretty much in a very, like, intense scene. And I think he just, I really think it just has him to do with him just, like, despising everything about that culture. And I think that's what was convincing about it.
I get that. Just, it didn't really sell for me. But we do get another really cool cinematic set piece. The next scene, which is the next Coliseum scene. What is this? 3 already? I think this is the third one, right?
3. The third one.
Yeah, and it's a naval battle, which I've never seen before.
I didn't like that.
No?
No.
I thought it was cool as fuck. I was like, I don't understand the logic behind how this works.
That's why I didn't like it.
So this does not seem realistic at all.
I was just overthinking it too much, and I was just like, there's no fucking way that they would do this. Because this shit is taking place like within days. So would they just ship sharks?
They somehow filled it all up with water. They had sharks there.
2-day Amazon shipped sharks in Rome time. Like, I was so...
Well, I mean, that is, again, a Roman thing. Like, Romans were obsessed with other cultures because they basically were going around the world just raiding and pillaging and taking...
I like that.
Taking over cultures and making them Roman and taking the cool things. Yeah, so that actually kind of makes sense for the Romans, but it's such a spectacle that it did not bother me that it was a good kind of breaking any realism. I was like, wow, like we got sharks in the fucking arena. Hell yeah. And people were getting eaten by sharks like Jaws. Like, hell yeah. Ridley Scott's doing the most right now.
I think it also, while I was in my head during that scene, is because I had loved the previous scene so much, and then it immediately followed with that. So I was just like, I don't know. The whole scene I couldn't get out of my head.
Is there a scene in Gladiator 1 when he throws the spear at the Emperor? No, but he thinks about it.
He thinks about it, yeah.
So his son actually goes ahead, and it was because he shoots an arrow. Was he shooting at the Emperors, or was he shooting at Marcus, at Daddy Pedro?
I think he was shooting at Marcus. That's how I took it.
That makes sense, because it wouldn't make sense for him to really have a personal vendetta against the Emperors.
No, other than them
his
being
shot is interrupted, and he almost hits one of the Emperors.
Right.
Which kind of sparks a whole like, what the fuck? But Denzel was like, ooh, like Denzel was like,
he was in the
smiling.
background loving it, dude.
Yes.
I loved it, bro. He's like,
because he wants to kill and become the powerful man. Like he wants to rise all the way up the totem pole.
And I don't know if he directed this scene, if he placed the actors purposely, but if he did it for just because Denzel,
I'm sure he did. Yeah,
it's an amazing shot where it's just like you see the two twins, you see that Marcus, Daddy Pedro, and then in the very back you get Denzel, and you can see him smiling. And I was just like, he's back there controlling all y'all right now, bro, and y'all just are falling for it. And my shoulder pop. But
that's always a good moment in shows when you've got a full cast of characters together and they're watching some event. Like you have the House of Dragons right next to you. Like there's plenty of scenes in the House of Dragons where they're watching an event going down and they're all sitting together, and it's like a full frame shot of all their feelings and like their emotions.
I love it.
Yeah, it was a good shot. GG's Ridley Scott. We like what you did there. So basically, at this point in the movie, Denzel kind of becomes the main character. Like his side plot in the background kind of takes
his plan
precedence,
starts to
which is his plan for ultimate power comes into play. Again, he's a betting man. He's betting against the loser. We're just gonna call him the loser, and he ends up winning basically everything this guy's got.
House.
He's got all his denarii. He's everything. Like, there's a great line where he's like, "I own your house. I want the truth." He's trying to get the info from this guy's basically like the city informant. He's like the master of whispers.
I was about to say that he's a spider.
Yeah, he's the fucking spider. And so Denzel gets all the tea, and the tea is that there is a coup brewing in the background. So to gain power, he, of course, snitches to the twins that this happens, which puts Marcus and Lucilia, obviously, they become an enemy of the state, of the Senate. Well, mainly of the emperors, because the Senate at this point, again, they don't really dive into the politics of the Senate. I'm like imagining all this in my brain because I'm just like imagining what the Senate meetings are like at this time, and I'm sure this fucking Senate hates these twins. Like, there's I'm sure they're supporters for just political purposes, but they're fucking crazy.
Well, yeah, because the Senate hated Commodus in the first one. So I'm sure.
And that's kind of a sign of like the end. Like this all takes place towards the end of the Roman Empire when things just got worse and worse and worse and worse, and until it was nothing anymore.
I will say this whole sequence of the coup getting stopped and getting interrupted because of Denzel's, tattletale, all that is reminiscent from the first one as well. I don't know if you remember that scene where that happens. Yes. But I just straight from the first one. Yeah. Denzel
makes another really smart play here. And Jesus, man, this dude was on some next, like his, if this was an RPG, his persuasion was at 10. You know, his dialogue, his charisma was at 10.
He rolled the pass every time.
He rolled a 21 with basically every move he made in the first 3 quarters of this movie. And he has they want to execute Marcus on the spot, but he tells them no, like put him in the Coliseum, put him in the arena. And I was like, okay, this is like a serviceable plot point here, like to get a fight between Lucius and Marcus. But it didn't dawn on me till later that this was actually him making a play so that the hero of the city, Marcus, like he was the soldier of the time, you know, he was the Augustus, you know, as far as or not Augustus, he was the Julius Caesar, as far as, you know, the guy out there doing all the things, like he was loved by the plebs. Right. So when he gets put in the Colosseum and eventually is killed in a great scene with Lucius, which we'll dive into, that makes everyone hate the twins even so much more. Right. Which is exactly what Denzel wanted. And I thought that the little bit they did of politicking in this movie works really well. I would have liked more of it. Me too. And maybe take some of the fighting scenes out and add some more politics and character stuff. But what the little bit that they did with Denzel's character, I actually really did appreciate that. And that's why I think he's by far the best part of this movie. Just his whole plot line was great. And I just thought that was kind of a genius move. And he even pulls that shit again with Lucilia, but I'm getting ahead of myself now. Yeah. So we'll stop.
He pulls it a couple times.
Yes. But to backtrack here, the scene where Lucius and Marcus end up in the arena together is
awesome scene.
Obviously where this movie was leading. Denzel even says off later, like, I promised you Marcus's head if you fought for me. I gave it to you. You fucked up. Like, he ends up even throwing that on fucking Lucius, which was another like genius 21 D&D role.
Just turning everybody against each other he possibly can.
Like, sheesh, this fucking guy, man. So crazy. And Marcus basically, won't kill. He won't kill Lucius. He doesn't want to fight him. This is his wife's son, like, right? Obviously. And this is kind of the first scene where Lucius accepts. I feel
who
like
he is.
He accepts who he is here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because, everything in him wanted to get revenge for his wife and kill Marcus, but he kind of accepts his role as Maximus's son here, which he learns. And he kind of accepts that he's, this is his mother, and he doesn't want to hurt his mother like that. And he also doesn't want to kill this war hero. Like, he kind of respects who this guy is to Rome, even though he hates Rome, No,
I think it took deep. Marcus kneeling down, putting his sword down, and going, "If you want to kill me, kill me. Just let me say
I'm done here.
Let me say what I gotta say first." And he let him. And I think that clicked in his head. He was like, "No, Rome deserves people like him. Like, Rome deserves what my grandfather wanted, because this was it." And that's what I said. I really, really like that moment.
And it's a tragic moment for Lucilia.
It is.
Like, really, that's what I was thinking about the whole time.
It
like,
is.
Damn. Like, she's watching her son and her lover fight to the death. Like,
and then you get arrows all over the place. Yeah. And he looks like a puffer fish. And that, unfortunately, Daddy Pedro goes down.
Even though this movie's 2.5 hours, I feel like it should have been 3.5, because it just kind of felt rushed. Like, by this point of the movie, we're already, I'd say, close to 2 hours in. And I feel like there's so much of this runtime is the fights and the set pieces. And, I dug them, but I just feel like it detracted from what could have been a more emotional experience, because I feel like it rushed to these big moments.
It rushed, like, as great as Denzel's plan was, and it was like how he did it was awesome, like the character in the story, but it was how it happened in the movie was just all like back to back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah,
it's like
it kind of comes out of nowhere almost, like how
like
big of a deal this guy is.
Yeah, like he's in the background, I think, building stuff up for like 2 hours. In the last 30 minutes, you just get everything that he's all that.
He is the new substance 2 ads that has nothing to do with 1 at all, and he's this new card, this new player who ends up being the biggest deal, but you don't necessarily see that or feel that until it's happening, and then you're like, wow, this is cool, and it's Denzel, so yeah, I'm into it. But it didn't have as much, there wasn't as much emotional baggage in the fight that we eventually get between Denzel and Lucius.
Correct.
Outside of the horrendous things that Denzel just does back to back to back to back.
Right. Because, and he surely does that. And because the Emperors, when I walked out, I was like, man, I don't know if having twins as Emperors was necessary. And honestly, the Emperors were just there, I feel like, and I'm just realizing this now, to serve Denzel. That's like pretty much it. And I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm okay because Denzel's character ended up being amazing. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and he uses them to turn against each other. And he literally helps Carcala thing to slice thing one's head off, which was a brutal scene.
Fucking brutal.
Again, at that point, I was digging it, but it was also like, this is moving really fast. Like, right. But I checked the time and it was 2 hours in. I was like, okay, like we got to wrap this movie up. So yeah, I mean, Denzel's plan comes to full fruition within a few scenes, probably like, I don't know, 15 minutes almost of him just leveling up.
Yeah.
And eventually he wants to put Lucia in the ring, and have her defended by her son, which is an evil plan. But by this point, another kind of side plot that's brewing in the background, it happens to do with a character whose name I don't know, but it's the kind of the like Gladiator doctor figure.
I was about to say, you're talking about him. The guy, I forgot his name, but the guy that helped. Guy that helped Lucius.
Yeah. There's like a whole little dynamic with them on this Ravi, the side plot, and he brings him to see his father's armor, and he eventually is the one who gives him the keys to let himself out, and because he realizes that this is Marcus's son. Right. Lucilia, her last conversation with her son is she comes and brings him her father's ring, which has the engraving on it. Maximus, which eventually becomes a really big plot point because he sends that ring off to Marcus's Daddy Pedro's army, who was waiting just outside the city for the coup. And they're like, well, fuck, we got we still got a shot at Marcus's father-in-law's
it's a stepson.
Stepson is here, and like, this is our leader now, so they're gonna come and fight for him. And the gladiators also, they're basically like,
well,
he's our daddy. Lucius is daddy for the gladiators.
Of course. I mean, Maximus was Gladiator's daddy in the first one, so that makes complete sense.
Yeah, I mean, Denzel's character has charisma 10, and so does the Maximus. They also have charisma 10, but it's in a stoic way.
Different way.
Yes, very different way. And fucking Denzel places a bullet right between Mama's heart.
Yeah, man. Her with an arrow. I said all fuck in the theater because I didn't want that to happen.
He kills her and Thing 2 back to back within 2 seconds.
And how he kills Thing 2 just made me squirm.
Lobotomizes.
Like just nailed to the fucking ear.
You audibly were like,
dude, because because the camera does not shy away from that at all. Yeah. And it got me. It got me pretty good. There's a couple of scenes earlier in this review. You were like, it's easy. Like, take your family to see it. I'm like, there's a couple of shots in this movie that I was like,
well, not the whole family, but the 13-year-olds. 13 and up. 13 and up.
No, for sure.
So Denzel's doing the fucking most, bro. He sends the city's army, who is for some reason loyal to him. That did not, I guess, just because of his rank. Like, he was.
I was gonna say he
was the second in hand at that point, because the actual second in hand was a fucking monkey, which was so fucking random. I loved it. And then in third in command was him, and so yeah, they basically were taking his word. He sent the city's army to go meet Marcus's army at the front gates. This leads into a scuttlefuck where Denzel gets on a horse. Lucius somehow ends up on a horse. There's a horse race. They end up battling outside the city.
Underneath the gate.
All happens, again, I guess being rushed is my biggest L from this movie. I just feel like the end is kind of weak. Like, as big as it could have been, like, we needed an hour or an hour and a half to flesh out.
I would have liked 3 hours, because I would have liked an entire act. Not 10 minutes, not 15, 20.
The last 30 minutes
of
needed to be
Denzel
stretched
in
out.
power. I would have loved to seen an entire act of Denzel in power, for sure.
Right, because by the time he's in power, we're 2 hours in, and we got him just running through this task list of everything he has to do to lead up to the final battle.
You could have, honestly, like I was thinking about this, as visual appealing as it was, I really think you could have, well, I don't know. Now
You could have cut out one of the Coliseum fights.
I was going to say cut out the opening sequence.
Or that.
The opening fight sequence. Like, cause I was like, do you need to see Pedro do you need to see Marcus take that last city? But I think
you do for the dynamic, for
to really
Lucius to have any sort of goal.
I agree, which is why I stopped myself right there. Because I was like, well, because it instantly gets you like,
we just need 30 more minutes added on. A 3-hour movie would have been fine.
I would have very much liked it.
But it's, again, ticket sales. No one wants to go see a 3-hour movie, unfortunately. No. They want to wait till it comes home, so they cut it.
So they can pause it 50 times. And
yeah. As a married couple, I'm pro. Everyone's got to pee. We need a drink. You need a tea. Like, it's just, it happens, bro. It happens.
Streaming. You'll let streaming just...
it's your fault.
It's your fault, damn it.
No, it's our fault, Jordan. Accept it. We're all the problem here. We're all the problem. And yeah, we got a fucking 1v1 between Denzel and Lucius, which was satisfying.
It was satisfying.
I will say.
It was.
That armor holds up really well, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Just Denzel just...
I bet you he's just like, this motherfucker won't die.
Another thing we haven't touched, because it only is brought up twice, but Ridley, I think, is, he wanted to add some sort of afterlife element because it was kind of more important in the first one. The afterlife, sequences, right? And so there was a very dark, grungy afterlife sequence in this where it's all black and white, and we got the fucking Reapers, like they're like bringing his wife onto the boat and taking her to the afterlife, and it's super, super dark. And I
had kind of like forgot about that scene.
And he ends up going back there when the dude's banging on his chest with the sword, because like if that armor just gave out, he was dead, like just straight through the heart, But the armor of the Maximus family, fucking masculinity, like
it's about family.
It's about family.
What?
Test plates. No, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, and just kind of like logic and thinking. I would like in the scene while we were watching it, I was thinking this. I was like, the water too
broke the sword.
I feel like it broke the sword's momentum. So I was like, I guess I can.
Couldn't see exactly where he was.
Yeah, I was like, I guess I can buy this.
No, I don't think that wasn't unrealistic. Like, I thought that made sense. But of course, Lucius has to get the upper hand here.
Of course,
it would have been I probably honestly would have liked the ending more if Denzel won, just because it would have been such a
I would have
fuck you.
Been pissed, bro.
He was obviously couldn't do that.
Right.
It's a Ridley Scott movie, not a fucking, I don't know who would do that, Tarantino or...
No, fucking, what's his name? Lars von Trier.
Lars von Trier.
Lars von Trier would have Denzel Washington cut off Lucius's head and just dangle it over his face while he
Jesus
just...
Christ.
like Tropic Thunder style. Just,
And then we get what Maximus never really got, which was a speech to all the soldiers of the city of Rome, and Lucius basically ends the war. He ends what would have been a bloody war for Rome, and they're just like all like, fuck yeah.
And he ends, and I love that ending, because not only did it, like, I was like, oh, so this completely wraps up Gladiator 1 too.
It does.
This is done.
It does that successfully.
Yeah, I was like, this completely wraps that up as well.
And I did enjoy that that much. Like, I knew this movie was getting good reviews. I knew I would enjoy it. I didn't know if it would be a successful sequel, so that was a surprise. Like, I'm happy it was. Obviously, we got some gripes with it. I think it could have been a little better.
I think it could have been better.
If it, didn't want to be as much of an action movie. But, that was the goal here. It's Gladiator.
Right.
It's not supposed to be some political thriller, right? It's meant to be a fun action movie. And
if you would have just added 30 more minutes, man, it could have been both, I swear.
It could have been a bit better, but I still think it would have been more action.
Just been more action?
Yeah. I mean, the 30 minutes we want tacked onto it would have been good, because we would have got some more really just development for Denzel character in the end is what I think we're both asking for here.
Yes.
Yeah. And then build up that heat between him and Marcus a little bit more.
And because I was don't even build up the Emperors because he's not that. They're important,
The
but
twins aren't. Yeah, they just
that
serve
important.
Denzel's character.
That's pretty much so. Get rid of them earlier.
But I enjoyed them because they definitely
were fun.
Giving. Oh my god, I'm fucking doing the millennial. They were giving Commodus, like
they were giving Commodus vibes.
They were bringing Commodus back to life. I feel like they were both trying to play Joaquin Phoenix, which is a compliment because
for sure
you can't match him, but you brought the same energy, and that was nice.
For sure.
Obviously, Joaquin Phoenix is, I think, the highlight. His just gross, evil attitude is
so fucking good in the first one, dude. I've never despised him more in a movie.
Even though I gave Gladiator, I think I gave it a 2 or 2.5. I said all of these stars are for Joaquin Phoenix because he was fucking good as a villain.
So I went back to my Letterboxd review because it was the most impactful line in the first movie, and after seeing both of them, the one that just an arrow to the gut as Joaquin Phoenix when he's talking to Lucia towards the end, and he asks her, he tells her what he's gonna do, and he threatens the kid and everything. And then he's like, "Am I not merciful?" And he says it's so creepy quiet. And then he screams it. He was like, "Am I not merciful?" Dude, that shook me.
Yeah.
That shook me so bad.
I remember that scene for sure.
That's just, I had to bring that up.
Yeah.
While we're talking about Gladiator 1 still.
So, as much as we like Denzel, who do you think was the better villain? Joaquin or Denzel?
Denzel.
Really?
Just because the character of Commodus is ass. I'll be honest with you. Commodus as a character is terrible.
It's not likable at all.
No, and the thing is you could have not made him likable, but you could have made him. You could have given him more human characteristics. He has a whole daddy issue where he was jealous of Maximus. He was jealous that Maximus got love and that he never did, but none of that was explored. He has a monologue about it when he kills his dad, Richard Harris's, and it was a good scene, but it's only a good scene because the performance was really good.
Yeah.
Other than that, Commodus is just a straight douche the whole movie. So the better villain out of the two. Don't know if this is going to be a hot take. I have no idea what people think of the characters in Gladiator 2 or if people prefer this one to the second one. But, no, dude, Denzel's character all the way over Commodus for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I was interested in that. But, yeah, so, after talking about it, I feel like I've kind of come to understand my gripes with the movie. And I'm glad I got here because, I'm mentally fleshed out here. Mm-hmm. I think I'm still a solid 3, maybe 3.5 for this film. I thought it was good. Thought it was, at times really good.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at, Jay.
Nice. I'm not at great, really great or one of the best movies of the year, but I think it's really good most of the time. I was really invested in the characters, and I gave it on Letterboxd a 4. I think I'm at a 4 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've also got Wicked to see and potentially touch on next episode. I know we wanted to do Gladiator 2 over Wicked.
Over Wicked, just more of our thing.
Yeah, for sure. But what do we have next week?
Next week is Moana 2.
That's the big release?
That's the big release. That's the only release next week.
Ah, really?
Yeah, but
I'm not really excited about that.
See, I am.
Really?
Not excited. Excited is not the right word. I really enjoyed the first Moana. It's super enjoyable. The songs are catchy.
Okay.
So
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's good, man. Yeah. It's good. It's not one of my favorite Disney movies, but it's enjoyable. I think it's going to be a good time at the theater, so I'm looking forward to the watch. I am. But I'm not
What if, because we've talked about this before, what if next week we did, in fact, do the Dune back-to-back watches?
I'm always down.
Did you watch the first episode of Dune Prophecy?
I'm waiting to watch Dune 1 and Dune 2.
Okay. So maybe, if you're okay with it, instead of doing Moana 2, we can do a full Dune video, and we can review the first episode and second episode.
I'd be down for that. I'm still going to go see Moana 2.
Yeah, of course.
I'm still going to go see it.
Well, you're seeing movies every week. And I'm trying to as well, whether we do a review for them or not.
But no, I'm down. I'm always down. I've been wanting to talk about Dune, so I'm down.
What's the next big release that you got coming up?
Let us see. The next big release, the top of my head, is Sonic 3.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. Like War of the Rohirrim, I think might come out sooner.
Ooh, really
Sooner
excited
than
for
that.
Really excited for that.
In fact, I think War of the Rohirrim comes out the 17th of December.
Okay.
I think that's the.
I know I'm the brutalist. I'm looking forward to Nosferatu.
Well, that's not till Christmas Day.
Right. These are all kind of Christmas Day movies.
I could be missing something. Let's see here. Oh, so December 6th, we have, this is not a big release, but it's a movie that I think I'm interested in, is Night Bitch with Amy Adams.
Okay. Cool.
It seems like a horror type comedy with Amy Adams. It's Amy Adams and something different. So I'm,
love Amy Adams. Always appreciate her.
I'm trying to look for The Brutalist. I'm trying to look for anything. So yeah, The War of Rohirrim is the next like big movie on the 13th.
Yeah, bro. Lord of the Rings animated theater release. Let's fucking go, bro.
I'm excited for that, dude.
Shit.
Yeah, I am so fucking high for that. And
Let's go.
I will be seeing 2 movies that weekend. You won't see the second one with me, but the second one is Kraven the Hunter. I'm gonna go see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one.
I'm gonna go see that.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
And then after that, the 20th. Oh, dude, you got Sonic 3, Mufasa, Nosferatu, Baby Girl, A Complete Unknown, The Brutalist. So The Brutalist is so December is gonna be packed. The back half of December.
Oh yeah, we got a good back end.
Oh yeah,
good to go. I'm excited, man. Always a pleasure talking with you, Jay, and chatting.
Always, man. Always. My iPad one. Okay, there we go.
But yeah, guys, we'll be back next week. Hopefully talking about Dune, maybe Moana. Either way, or both. Probably not both. Probably Dune. We'll be back. And guys, if you're still watching, thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe, like the channel, and go check out the other videos. We got a lot of episodes out. So,
we do. We have a good balance of movies we liked and disliked. So it's not.
The year has warmed up for sure.
For
sure,
it
was kind of cold there for a little bit.
It was for a while. We were just recommending a lot of shitty movies. Or a lot of videos to shitty movies.
Yeah. But yeah, looking forward to next week.
Absolutely, man.
Catch you next time.
Later.
Peace.